Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with Vax'ildan, Episode 3 of the enhanced versions of Campaign 1, thanks to Enhanced for Critters. Go in the description, there should be a link. If I didn't forget again, last week I forgot, but I should have by now added it, as well as this. But last we did about a 35-40 minute Patreon hour, even though it's called the hour, there wasn't enough time, or we'd have less than an hour on the live stream this week. We're going to have 10 minutes of content, which will give us an hour and 25 minutes of actual content for the live stream. It's going to be one of the shorter live streams if, however, we do hit the 50 likes like we've been doing consistently for the last half a year, if not longer, going way back to Mighty Nein. We will do the next 30 minutes of episode 4. I'm curious to see when we start getting longer episodes, because up until now, I don't think we've had an episode that was longer than 3 hours. And we always chop out the first 5 or 10 minutes for the intro because it's unnecessary. It's just a giant recap and everything else, telling them what's going on in the world. But this is 10 years ago, if not longer, from where we're at in our current day and age. So there's no point in knowing any of that because we already know the lives of the Critical Role people and where they're at now. Campaign 4, I believe, is going to be announced in a couple of weeks or whatever. But that being said, we were traveling through the Underdark, and we came across 13 Drugar. I had to look it up on the phone during the Patreon hour. I didn't have to, but I was like, I need a picture. I need to know what these look like. They basically looked like evil dark dwarves, and that is what it was described as. It was like dark dwarves that live in the Underdark. We had 13 of them. They had tied up 3 dwarven miners. We were deciding whether or not to attack them. I said we probably shouldn't. We didn't. We magic carpeted over the bridge. We looked down beneath the bridge, and there was molten lava thousands of feet down, at least 1,000 feet down. We went over the bridge, and there was a war camp, so to speak, with 30 to 40, if not more, Drugar camped out. Good thing we did not attack the ones going over the bridge, because that would have probably sounded an alarm, and we'd be in a lot of trouble. So there were also hulking figures. We found bodies strewn all over before we hit the bridge and saw the 13 Drugar. Something penetrated the skull and sucked the brains out of goblins and dwarves that were mining. The bodies were filleted of meat. They were stripped of meat. Someone made the reference of pulled pork, which is graphic and horrifying. It also kind of made me a little hungry because I haven't eaten yet today. But that's probably not what you should feel when you think of ripped apart bodies. I know there was a horror movie with something that reminded me of the way Matt was describing. It was like a round hole shot right through the brain or the skull, and inside was hollow because Vex kind of did a little thing. Was it Slither? Some kind of movie had a monstrous thing that would puncture your head and suck out your brain. It could have been a lot of things, but that I think, I don't know. Something is in my mind and I can't think of it. Let me know what you guys think. But regardless of that, that's where we're at. Let's jump in. We'll finish the rest of the live stream. We're going to do 10 minutes. You want to see more of what I do, in the description is the link for Patreon, where you'll see every episode of Campaign 1 and 2 Patreon hour over there. You want your own requested short movie, go to the link, ask me to watch whatever you want. At a certain tier level, I will do so. That is how we have thousands of exclusives like Peaky Blinders, Doctor Who, Person of Interest, Outer Banks, and Eureka, Pushing Daisies, Good Omens. This coming week, by the time you see the live stream, we'll have halfway through Severance Season 2. Yellow Jackets Season 3 is starting on Valentine's Day. The day before is Cobra Kai's final 5 episodes. We'll be doing all of that. We're also doing Leverage, Wayne, Rama 1/2. Schitt's Creek just started. Thousands of other movies and shows full and edited. Check it out. If not, Season 3. Campaign 3, Campaign 1, Episode 3. Vax'ildan.
Okay, listen. Leave me behind. I'll follow the party with the hostages. I'll see where they go. Don't worry, I'll be invisible. Go back, tell our fellows, get them across the bridge, and we'll meet here in about an hour.
All right.
What? I'm super brave and hung. Come on, let's do this.
I'm super brave and hung. What a way to start the Vax'ildan.
All right.
We drop him off.
I turn invisible, and I'm gonna just hang behind the party that's got the hostage dwarves and just kind of see where they go.
Oh my God! If Scanlan gets caught,
Don't have to
We
activate.
can't go invisible. We can't be as
it's gonna be a little bit trouble.
sneaky. We can't be as invisible as him. All right.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, he is invisible.
might
But what if, I don't know. I'm assuming he'll be all right.
The people, the figures we're following, have they finished the bridge at this point?
No, they're long past the bridge. They're inside the city proper at this point.
Okay.
Okay, so then, I'll stay by the edge of the bridge. You go back. Scanlan, go ahead. I'll wait for you here. If there's trouble. Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Got it.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I like the
Right.
plan. Scanlan,
Thanks.
go
Thanks. Send it
visible.
back.
Well, he already is. Inside.
Nice.
Vax at the bridge. People go back. Regroup in an
As
hour.
you go ahead.
And if need be, ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Make towards the city. Go ahead and make a stealth check with advantage.
Come on, buddy.
I also thought it was funny that we came across all these dead goblins, and I chose of all shirts to wear my goblin
Kind of falling
shirt,
behind
not
the
the
main
brave.
group, and they're heading towards this kind of.
And Sam made a reference.
thoroughfare
He goes,
in the center
"Oh,
of this
goblins,
town.
I could care
You see a
less."
few
And I'm
Durgar
like, "That's
coming out,
funny."
inspecting as they
Because
enter,
campaign too.
Speaking in a language you don't understand, asking questions. Some of them are coming out and kind of slapping the dwarf captives as they go across, or spitting on them. The dwarves
Lovely.
look very broken and unhappy with the circumstance, but brimming with anger. You see, like a couple of
How
them are
lovely
like
of
true
them.
dwarves. They haven't given into it. They're just looking for an option or a moment. to
I'm gonna turn it up one notch just in
They're
case.
stripped of all armor and weaponry. They're brought through some of the alleys and road kind of paths between these pup tents and these stone structures. You can see there are some of the hulking figures. There are 2 trolls wandering amongst these Duragar.
Yes!
Now
Druagar.
you've
Oh,
encountered
so I was saying
trolls before.
Druagar. It's
These trolls
Druagar.
Yeah.
also have a similar pupilless, clouded over white eye appearance.
Slave trolls.
As you begin following them further in, you manage to see 2 ogres that are currently stationed across this main kind of open center location in this campsite. And both of these ogres also have.
So there's
the
a lot
same
going on
pupilless
here. We got
white
trolls,
rays
we
over
got
their
ogres,
eyes.
we got
So they're both just kind of glancing
tons of Druagar.
about. The rest of the Durgar are in the process of constructing.
Or is it
other
Duragar?
tents. Some of them look like they're
Duragar?
actually in the process of.
I could be
forging
pronouncing it
weaponry.
wrong. My apologies.
This feels
I'm
like
saying
it's a work.
yeah,
It's definitely
Duragar.
very
It's
precise.
Duragar.
However, in the center of this main area, you do see there is a wooden platform about 20 foot by 20 foot that is raised up, and you see a group of about 6 Duragar that are all wearing very intricate black iron plate armor, and they're all just sitting on the outskirts of this platform.
White eyes.
All the Duragar seem to have that natural.
Could that
look to
just
their
be
eyes
from
as
the
well.
Underdark? Could it just be from
Um,
like living in darkness
As the
that you got this glazed
party
look, or are they?
following enters the center of this vicinity, make another stealth check.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like you guys, I said this during the Patreon hour. You guys would know better than me. I'm not familiar with this particular
You
type
step
of
off to the
thing.
side.
They could be
A
controlled, or they
Duragar
could be
steps out of one of the
possessed,
tents near you, and you just
or
barely
it's just
manage to pull out of the way without making
the
any
cost of
squeak
living in the
noise.
dark.
Who's by?
Oh, God.
Careful, Bilbo.
And begins stepping out, looking intently for something, but right past you by inches. Walks past.
I was thinking this,
You
like,
look over
what if
again,
there's a
and
way
you
they
now
could
see
detect it? I didn't
towards
think it'd
the
be
very
from
back end of
smell,
this
but I mean, it
open
makes sense.
midsection by this
They could have
platform, there is
insane
one
sense of
large
smell.
stone construct. Looks like a makeshift barracks has been placed there. With the double stone doors that are currently open, and you can see 2 figures stepping out of the stairs that lead into these barracks, heading towards the main platform. They step up onto the platform, one of which is very, very well decorated Duragar, who's wearing similar black and plate armor as the other kind of elite guard that you saw surrounding this platform.
It almost sounds
but
like he's
with,
saying
gold and
Duragar
silver
sometimes.
swirling on it, a
Duragar,
long, tattered,
but it almost
dark
like there's
purple
it
cape,
sounded like an A
and
in
has
there
a nasty
sometimes.
scar across the cheek that leads into this kind of gnarled gray beard. As it steps forward, you can see sheathed off to its back in a large scabbard, a gargantuan, for a dwarf especially, 2-handed sword that should be unwieldy for a creature of its size, but nevertheless looks dangerous. And a creature next to it is
We're talking
not just a small
powerhouse.
dwarf, actually very tall, lanky, long, kind of black and purple robes, hood obscuring its features, stepping roughly 2 feet behind it as they both step onto the platform to address the rest of the guard and the approaching party of Duragar dwarves you've been following. You can see some conversation happening, but you're too far away to really make out anything's being said. Did you want to move closer?
Do I speak their language?
Do you speak Undercommon?
Nope.
Then it all sounds gibberish to you.
Then no thank you.
Then there's no point.
You
Yeah.
see some
No
conversation
point in
happening.
getting closer if I can't understand it
This
anyway.
seemingly officious Duragar, this general that steps out and commands the attention of the room, makes a few gestures, shouts out to amongst the other nearby. Not quite sure, but you get the idea. He's giving orders or directions. The war party then begins to pull the slaves back away, and
The captives?
the captain begins pulling them away back towards another section on the side. As it does, the tall, lanky figure, which you now get this essence, it's not really walking, it's just kind of drifting. Holds its hand out, this long-fingered, lanky hand, and as it does, every single Durgar in the vicinity, wherever it was doing, stops in place.
All right, so they're being
And all
controlled,
turn and look
clearly.
at it as one. At which point, this creature brings its fingers in a beckoning gesture, loosely in your direction.
I'm wearing my ring of mind shielding, by the way.
For a split second, you feel your heart hit your throat, and the entire back of your body stands on pins and needles as one of the Duragar carrying one of the captives begins to pull one of the Dwarven captives back towards the platform. As it does, the dwarf, who's giving kind of a fight and looks nervous, looks over at the figure, and just kind of his arms go limp to its side.
Oh, he has been
And
taken.
begins to walk on its own volition, taking 2, 3 steps onto the platform and approaches this tall, lanky figure with its hood and its long ropes behind it. As it does, its hand reaches out and caresses the side of this dwarf's face.
The music
This
definitely
dwarf
changed.
seems to have given up all sense of fight or
Now, is it
any
going
sort
to
of
kill it?
conflict.
Is it going to
Just
kill the
stares
dwarf
up
or
at
make the
this
dwarf?
dark hood.
I assume it would make it a
As-
worker.
The tall, lanky creature reaches out with both hands and pulls the dwarf forward. You see these terrible purple tentacles come writhing out of the front of the hood, wrapping around the head of the dwarf, pulling it into it. As the hood falls back, you see this horrible, smooth, purplish blue, hairless head. These sunken, yellowish green eyes as the tentacles wrap around the dwarf's head, pulls it into its mouth.
It's going to suck its brains.
And then there's a brief struggle, and then the dwarf's arms fall limp to its side.
It just ate its brain.
At which point the tentacles unravel from the back of the dwarf's head. The creature pulls back a bit of ichor, dwarf blood dripping from what looks like a lamprey's toothy maw, and then thrusts the body to the ground with a thud as it falls lifeless to the ground.
Poor son of a
A
bitch.
horrible bored hole in its forehead.
Oh no.
The creature then draws its hood back up.
Those other dwarves got to be shitting their pants, because 2 of them are still, like, watching this.
Going towards the 2 dwarven captives that now remain look completely stunned. Their faces white with fear. as
That's
they've
the
been
first thing I
being
thought
dragged
of.
off in this state.
The other guy probably didn't feel
The
much. He
tall
was in a
figure
trance.
Kind of gives a nod to the Duragar general. Gives it a nod as well. The 2 turn around and walk back into the stone barrier building.
Woof.
What the frig is this thing?
Woof. Worst show ever.
Worst show ever.
Okay. But that was one of the captives. Do I see where the other captives were taken?
The 2 other captives, you follow them. They both are pulled to essentially a western side. If you're looking overhead from the entrance point, this is where the barrack building is up here. This is where you guys entered.
Dig
and
the
this is
music.
main center area. They're pulled off to a western side here. They're taken to a large tent, and as they're pulled in, you can stay close up behind. And you can
I'm
hear
guessing they're just going to hold them
some
until this thing
growling
needs to
inside.
feed again.
Okay. I assume bad things are happening in there.
I don't think bad things are happening in there. I think they're
Is there
being
anything,
held
You speak Dwarven?
for
No.
later
Oh.
to feed on.
Where do I speak? What does it say? Shit.
It should be in the lower left hand of your
bottom.
player sheet.
I'm like, either they're going to kill this dwarf. I didn't think it was going to be
No, I just
the
play- I just
head
do
piercing
common
thing.
Okay.
But I was like, they're either going to kill it or put it and make it a slave.
Being shouted angrily, cursing from the interior, and a few other voices, dwarven voices, also joining it.
Ah.
More than 2.
Ah.
And then you hear
Holding some.
some horrible, sick thuds and some impacts and some cries in pain. And then eventually the group of 5 Duragar that dragged them the captives walk out, carrying these cudgels at their side, still dripping with fresh blood. And they kind of go amongst their own business from there.
Okay.
All right, maybe I'm wrong. Either
I
that,
think
maybe
I'll
I don't
go
know.
back to my fellows. There's nothing I can see. That door doesn't lock. Does it lock by any chance?
It's just an opening tent.
Opening tent.
He could take a peek.
There's
Maybe they
no-
just
nothing
teed
lying
off on
around,
him
none
to
of that
submit
black
them for
armor
now.
lying around or anything, any extra
Not on the street.
things. Oh, okay. I think I'll just make back for my friends then.
Okay, make yourself check.
All right, everybody. So that is it for Vox O'Clock. My God, that ended violently. I wanted to see if Sam was going to take a peek first, but he said, I'm going to take a stroll back to my friends, let them know what's going on over here. We don't know for sure. I mean, those 5 Durgar came out covered in blood. Now, they could have just smacked the crap. We heard, like, fighting. No, I don't even know if you call it fighting, because the dwarves they were beating the shit out of probably weren't putting up much of a fight. They were just being, like, beaten to a pulp. My guess is they wouldn't just kill them. I think this entity, whatever the heck this entity was that just killed the third one, that is what is piercing the skulls and sucking out the brains, clearly. I feel like the Durgar would keep these other dwarves almost like feed in this tent, like beat the shit out of them, knock them out, tie them up, and when this entity needs to feed again, we'll just bring another one out. The good thing is it put it into a trance, so I'm assuming it didn't feel much pain. Not that that's a great thing that you died, but at least you didn't, like, go out in agonizing pain and fear. I mean, not just the pain, the fear of seeing that in your face and, like, it wrapping around your head, and, like, you'd probably be fighting it off, and, like, it would probably be worse. Like, you're not gonna probably get out of that if you even have the ability to. So just the fear and the anguish of trying to, like, escape and get your brain sucked out. At least the dude was in a trance. Good for him. The other 2 might still be alive, but even if they are, I mean, how much longer will they be alive? What the hell is this thing? This thing is clearly controlling all the Durgar. I was saying, Matt was saying there were glossed over eyes. I don't remember if it was in this or the Patreon hour. I jumped immediately into this, so I can't remember. All I know is Matt said that they all had, like, a glazed look over their faces. I've seen many things, like a Descent and stuff like that. I'm talking movies. In the Descent, they had, like, glazed over eyes because they live in the darkness, and, like, it's sort of what happens when you never go out in the sunlight. But I was thinking it seemed more like something was controlling these things, and sure enough, it, like, extended its hand, and all 50, because he said there were 50, I'm pretty sure, all the Durgar immediately shifted like enslaved. There's also ogres and trolls, and I don't know if one of those were the hulking figures, because Matt said there were hulking figures. Now, the hulking figures could be the ogres. There's also suited up in steel-plated armor, or whatever the heck he said, dwarves, one with a sword that he said he had no business being able to wield, but he had a 2-handed sword. Is it that he's getting extreme strength from this entity? Like, there's so many questions I have now, but at this point, we don't really have a lot of answers. We just have a lot of questions, and shit is scary. So Scanlan's going back. We're going to find out during the live stream what exactly is going down, and I'm excited. You want to see more of what I do? In the description is the link for Patreon, where you'll see every episode of Campaign 1 and 2 in full unedited, meaning the Patreon hours. Thank Enhanced for Critters. The description will have the link to the original video of that. You want your own requested show or movie, go to the same link, ask me to watch whatever you want. At a certain tier level, I will do so. That is how we have thousands of exclusives, like Peaky Blinders, Doctor Who, Person of Interest, Outer Banks, Eureka, Pushing Daisies, Good Omens. This week, halfway through Severance Season 2, Yellow Jacket Season 3 starts, Cobra Kai Final Season ends this week. We're also doing Leverage, Wayne, Ranma 1/2, Schitt's Creek just started, thousands of other movies and shows, full unedited. Check it out. If not, comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.